in the near term will be a letter of support from the U.S. Export-Import Bank. The second will be announcing another commercial executive that's going to put the offtake agreements in place. And then we're looking at various partnerships on the calcium side, right? So what can we do with our calcium-based deposit that reduces our cash costs and potentially cuts CapEx?
Hello, welcome to the Assay TV. Today I'm here at the One-to-One Mining and Energy Investment Singapore event with Paul Weibel, Chief Executive Officer of 5E Advanced Materials. So Paul, thanks for joining me here today.
Yeah, pleasure.
And maybe you can start with just a brief introduction to the company.
Yeah, so 5E has a project in Southern California, about halfway between Las Vegas and LA. We have a large colmanite deposit, which is a boron-based calcium deposit. Have a facility that's operating today, producing about a ton a day, and working through our commercial engineering for a 90,000 ton a year boric acid plant, working on pre-feed engineering today and customer qualification.
Sounds good. And so we'll get a little bit more into your projects and stuff in a bit, but maybe you could talk us through a bit about your team and the expertise that you have on your board.
Yeah, so Lonnie Bailey's our Vice President of Operations. He is up in Newberry Springs on a daily basis. We're 24/7 operation. Was previously at Albemarle and Silver Peak. 25 plus years in the chemicals business and is a seasoned vet. Josh Malm is our Chief Financial Officer, comes out of oil and gas, was previously at PwC. And so there's a lot of similarities to what we do compared to oil and gas, so good fit for the business. Rod McLean is ultimately a mine builder, so very seasoned executive, and we'll be making a new hire here shortly that has significant commercial experience in the boron business.
Sounds good. And so let's get into boron a little bit. So I know it's commonly been used in defense applications, but also it has significance in terms of clean energy. So maybe you can talk us through some of that.
Yeah, so I think 50% of the market is definitely glass ceramics. And, there's about 18%, which is kind of where we're growing on a go-forward basis, is essentially that decarb, right? So boric acid directly goes into fiberglass ceramics, which is wind turbine blades. So if you look at the CAGRs, depending on what you're looking at, 10, 12, 13% for wind, that's going to be that much boric acid going into fiberglass to make those turbines. Also, you have another downstream derivative to boric acid is ferroboron, which that goes into neodymium permanent magnets. So it's the ferroboron, and so that drives wind turbine, the motors for the turbine, as well as EV permanent magnets. Additionally, you do see boron touch different components of an electric vehicle. Obviously the glass and the cool LCD tech is boron based, as well as the ferroboron is the chassis, makes a lighter vehicle so it can get more miles.
Sounds good. All right. And so I know you've been working to produce boric acid at specific customer specifications. So how far are you from reaching that next phase?
We're on spec, and I think the question is the volume and the capacity that the plant can produce on a daily basis. The priority today is product on spec to customers' hands, and then in turn, let's start those offtake negotiations. Because ultimately, we want to bring in as much debt financing as possible, and to do that and get that project finance facility in place, we're going to need good offtake agreements that are bankable.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that funding. Where are you seeing the most support from at the moment?
Yeah, so on July 15th, we submitted an application to the U.S. Export-Import Bank. Fortunately for us, They have a Made in America initiative.
Mhm.
We are a US-based, fully permitted project in Southern California. We will make boric acid and a calcium-based byproduct in Southern California. But a lot of boric acid is ultimately shipped overseas. If you think of any of the high-end specialty glass that sits on the various computers or cameras here, that's an Asia-based glass product. And so product that we produce will go on a boat. So have a good line of sight that we should get a letter of support from the U.S. Export-Import Bank, which will be basically an invitation to diligence the project.
Great. Sounds good. And I suppose other than that, what else can we be looking on the lookout for 5E?
Yeah, I think first catalyst in the near term will be a letter of support from the U.S. Export-Import Bank. Second, we'll be announcing another commercial executive that's going to put the offtake agreements in place. And then we're looking at various partnerships on the calcium side, right? So what can we do with our calcium-based deposit that reduces our cash costs and potentially cuts CapEx? And then that all kind of culminate in an updated technical report in about January's time.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to check back in with you in January
Definitely.
after that's all wrapped up. But either way, Paul, thanks for joining us here
Yeah.
today.
Thank you.
Thanks.